If you get easily triggered and bothered by people talking within the realm of music about marketing or content or sales or brand, this is not the channel for you. Go ahead and leave now. There's dozens and hundreds of other podcasts out there to talk to you about growing your fan base as an artist, who will pat you on the head and say, there, it's okay. It's all about the art. You don't need to worry about that nasty marketing. And guess what? You'll never get anywhere. You'll just be continuing to play all these dive bars and make $50 a night and complain about how the industry's rigged against you. You're gonna be stuck working that 9-to-5 or a couple of part-time jobs just to get by while you try to live your dream as an artist. I'm not afraid to be the only one out here that's actually going to tell you straight up, if you don't establish your brand, you are screwed. If you don't establish a sales funnel, you are screwed. If you don't actually market yourself and create content, you are screwed. This is Makin Cents Podcast, where if it ain't about dollars, then it don't make sense.
Cause my revolutionary faculties got me switching up the game and changing minds. Get them out the system, I'll be saving lives.
What's up, y'all? Harkos here with the Makin Cents Podcast, where it's all about music marketing, branding, and how to have success, real success, as an independent artist. And I want to come here and talk to you today about what I consider the most important thing that you can do as an independent artist or band, musician, whatever you want to call yourself, in order to establish and grow your fan base for real, okay? And I know not a lot of people say for real anymore, but I do, all right? Anyway, the most important thing that you can do is establish your brand. Now, as the intro said, if you get easily triggered by the word brand or talking about marketing or sales or anything like that, leave. This ain't for you. Go on anywhere else on the internet. Right here, I want to talk to you today about growing your brand. Now, let's just establish what a brand is, because there's a lot of places all over the internet that always say these different types of things about brand. They're throwing brand out there like it's the new and, you know what I'm saying? It's just another word that they just throw in, and half the time people don't even know really what it means. Everybody's got their own definitions. But really, there's just three main pillars to building a brand, okay? It's establishing who you are, what you stand for, and what is your story. Those three things. That's it. Once you can answer those three things, then you can actually start really solidifying your brand. But until then, you can't even find the right fans. And I'm sure a lot of you are like, yo, I've got that same problem, Harkos. I'm having a hard time finding my fans, the people that get me the most, the people who enjoy my music and understand me as an individual the most. Well, that's because you haven't built your brand yet, okay? Now, your brand is going to change over your whole life, because every single day you're a totally different person by at least 1%, okay? Some days is more than others. But on average, let's just go ahead and keep it simple. You change every single day by 1%. Every day is a different weather outside. You got different things you got to take care of. You feel a little bit different. Maybe some days you're sick. Maybe some days you feel really energized. Maybe some days you're tired. All that fun stuff, right? But every single day, you're a different person with different challenges and different things you got to go through throughout that day. So bare minimum, every single day, you're a different person by 1%. Now, if you take that 1% and multiply it by 365 days in a year, you will have changed over the course of a year by at least 400% on average, right? So that is equivalent to changing who you are 4 times over within the course of a year. At least. Some days, you're going to change by 20% in a day, okay? But I'm just kind of keeping it easy numbers for averaging and stuff like that, right? So if you are changing by an average of 400% a year, that's dramatic. But now multiply that year over year over year. You know what I'm saying? Every 2 years, you're 800% different. Every 3 years, you're 1200% different. That's multiple different people, okay? Now, disclaimer, if you have a multiple personality disorder, hey, I get it, okay? But I'm not talking about that right now. What I'm talking about is actually being a different person to your fans. Now, in the past, it was really difficult for artists to embrace their daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly evolution fully and be able to express that without reservation to their fans. Okay? Because, they would only be putting out a new album every 2 to 3 years. And so whenever they put out a new album, they couldn't change their style up 100% or 400 to 800% every single album. Just think about your favorite solo artist or band, okay? If on one album they sounded one way, and on the next album they sounded 800% different, 8 times different, I mean, that's like somebody going from thrash metal to smooth jazz, right? I made that face. For those of y'all watching on the video, I made that face because I know somebody who experimented with jazz after they went from extreme metal. But anyway, so it's a big drastic difference, and you're going to have a lot of people that are going to fall off, okay? That used to be really, really hard for people to make that transition. Let me give a good example right here, okay? So one band I really, really love, okay? I'm hip-hop Harkos. I got all these hip-hop classics on my wall and everything like that, right? And I make hip-hop music, all that shit. But I actually grew up with my dad being a Kiss fanatic. Like, he was part of the Kiss army and everything. My mom being big into Aerosmith and Bon Jovi and all that. And since, I'm 38, I was born in 86, I was 10 years old in 96. So think about 1996 in the realm of music in total, okay? So you were in the middle of the grunge and the alternative scene, really, really going rampant. You were in the middle of a huge change within hip-hop where Bone Thugs and Harmony came out with East 1990 Eternal, and the Crossroads really fucking took off. You had Pac and Biggie on the rise, Jay-Z, all these other big established GOAT names in not just rock but also hip-hop that were just colliding and taking over the airwaves on BET, MTV, local radio stations, magazines everywhere, is influencing culture in a major way. And I was 10 years old in 96. So from the age of 10 to 18, I was balls deep in all of that. So I love hip-hop and rock, okay? Just want to put that disclaimer out there for those of y'all who may be new to the show. But one of my favorite bands is Alice in Chains, okay? Now, for those of y'all who don't know, Alice in Chains really, really made their mark being a heavy metal band, all right? They came in right off the end of the hair band era, and so they still had long hair. They were doing headbanging, but it was really heavy metal, and they were still kind of doing a lot of belting out with the singing and stuff like that. Lane Staley, their lead singer, had a hell of a unique voice. If you have not checked out any music from Alice in Chains, make sure you go check out some of their older stuff, all right? Their lead singer, Lane Staley, just as a disclaimer, he passed in, I think it was the late 90s, early 2000s, right around in there. So they replaced him with another singer. Their music's not, in my opinion, since then. But go check out some of the older stuff. They got some classics like Rooster, Down in a Hole, stuff like that. Anyway, I'm getting too much off topic. When they were making their mark, they were really, really heavy metal and everything like that, just like power chords and fucking headbanging and everything like that, right? And then after a few years, they wanted to go with a totally different tone. They wanted to go really like melodic, acoustic-ish, and really just like more of like a somber tone where they were able to portray a different vibe. Totally different vibe. Instead of angry, fuck the world, they wanted to actually go to, yo, this is how I'm feeling. Okay? And so they came up with, they had to come up with a compromise. to all that from one album to another because it was 2 to 3 years in between. So when they came out with their album called Jar of Flies, it was a more mellow album than their previous album, but it wasn't honestly as mellow as what they wanted. But they had to find that middle ground in order to not drive off all their fans. And actually what they did was they exponentially grew their fans because they still kept the power chords and stuff like that, but then they got really, really deep into more message within their music and lyrical content. And then the lead singer and the backup singer, Jerry Cantrell, they were able to actually like belt out more and really dig in deep with experimenting with vocal ranges and made some great music. Jar of Flies is a great album, right? And then not long after that, I think it was a few years after that, they ended up getting an MTV Unplugged session. So for those of y'all who don't know what MTV Unplugged is, it's where a band that traditionally plays with electric guitars and everything like that and everything all mic'd up goes on a set and they play everything acoustic. So they got acoustic guitars, acoustic bass guitars, and then the drummer is using like some acoustic drumsticks. I can't remember the technical names, but it makes it go a lot softer. They got, it's a lot more of a quieter tone. And for me personally, as well as a bunch of other Alice in Chains fans, that performance right there was their best performance ever. Okay? So if you ever want to go check out Alice in Chains, I really, really recommend the MTV Unplugged set. And if you go watch the independent videos on each one of those songs that they performed, you go look in the comments, all the comments, you'll see a ton of them that say, this is the best version, this is better than the studio version, everything like that, right? Well, they were able to finally do that because they had made that transition, but it took years, okay? It took years. And MTV Unplugged actually really helped change a lot of things with rock to where people could actually start going unplugged, and a lot of bands started going unplugged and giving a new sound to their songs. Some it did good for, some it didn't do great for. But anyway, there's that. But that's an example right there of how a band, Alice in Chains, literally wanted to go from metal, right? Heavy metal to unplugged. Like that, essentially, within an album, because it had been 2 to 3 years in between albums and they wanted to go with a different vibe. But they couldn't change immediately, so they had to kind of step it a little bit, okay? Now, artists from all genres had to do that previously in the past because it would be so different in between sets and in between albums. And over those 2 to 3 years, they'd be going on tour, playing all those songs and everything like that, and they'd eventually get tired of playing the same songs. They want to create new songs, new sounds, new vibes. And you as an artist, you know how this is. You don't want to just create the same exact song every single time you put out a song. No, you want to mix it up. You got different emotions on different days that create different inspiration. If you're a hip hop artist, you may hear a different beat. If you're like a rock or a metal artist or something like that, you may play around with your guitar and hear a different riff or have a different riff pop in your head one day or something like that. Or you hear something melodic come in your head that you've never done before and you're like, oh, I should try that. Well, before, you would kind of be a little scared to try to do that, and then your label or your management would really be scared about you doing that. Like, no, this is your brand. You need to stay on point with this, right? But you couldn't show your true evolution as an artist to your fans as you changed, because it would be too drastic of a change between the times that they saw you. However, with the internet and social media, all that's out the window. You can actually change as you change, and your fans will change with you, okay? So not only can you release music on a more frequent level, you can release a song every month. You can release more frequently than that if you want to. You can do different methods of release to where you're releasing on a regular basis, on a monthly average, right? Let's just keep it simple. There's a lot of nuance, a lot of different tactics you can do. If you guys want to dive more into some of the tactics, hit me up and we can go over some options that'd be great for you, right? But on average, you can release a new song every single month, and you can switch up the vibes on each track, and you can go with a little bit different direction. You can play and you can be experimental and everything like that, and some songs will hit and some things will drop, right? But you can do that now, and your fan base will kind of grind with you, okay? They may be like, oh, that song wasn't great. And you come back with the next song, they're like, yay, we're back again, right? Because it's only been about a month, maybe a couple weeks in between new songs, right? So you can do that, whereas before you couldn't do that. One thing you can also do as well, too, is you can create entertaining and engaging content on a regular basis that's not only music related, but that's also lifestyle and brand related. Back to the 3 pillars: who you are, what you stand for, and what your story is. So you can create long form content, right? Not only just music videos, right? And in the music video, you can express different things, but you can also create one-off videos similar to how I'm doing right here, where you are speaking with your fans about something specific that you've been working on here lately, or an interest that you have, or, because whether you stand for social justice issues, or you're political, or, you're all about health and wellness, or, whatever the situation, you're about sports, right? You're a religious artist, right? You're a religious artist, right? They're all different kinds of things. Whatever it is you're about, you can go to your fans on a regular basis, once, twice a month, and sit down and have a fireside chat, talk with them and stuff like that. You can create the content and pre-record it, kind of like I'm doing right here, right now. And then you can chop it up and put it in shorts and put it out on all the short form platforms and mix all your content up with your music video shorts and all that kind of stuff. But you can also go live at any time with your phone. Everyone's got a phone. Don't lie to me and tell me you ain't. You probably watching or listening to this on your phone, okay? But you can turn on your phone at any time on any social media platform, including YouTube, and you can go live at any time, okay? And you can reach people across the whole planet, and you can speak to them about whatever it is you want to speak with, okay? And doing a mix of all of those things, which you should do, in a healthy mix, and having a good content creation and posting calendar is definitely a good thing to have. That way you can actually plan out what you're going to do, and you can be more consistent with it, and you can batch create content, schedule it out and stuff like that. And again, you need help with any of that, hit me up and we can work on a good plan for you as well too. All right, free initial consultation, just to put a plug in there. But anyway, so you can create all that different content. You can all do all those different kinds of things, and the fans will grow with you, okay? Yeah, here and there you may lose some fans because you may say something and, some people don't like it, but you're going to have that same amount of people, if not double or triple or more, who actually like it. So you'll net positive, you'll be growing in a positive way, okay? And you'll be staying true to yourself, which is the most important thing. That's one of the biggest things I hear from artists whenever they start talking about, oh, well, I don't want to sign to a label because I don't want to lose myself. I don't want to have my creativity stifled. I don't want to be told what I can and can't put out, what I can and can't say. Cool. This is the channel for you, because I'm all about helping artists stay independent, grow independent, and have that musician lifestyle that they always want to live, where they don't have to work, bullshit 9-to-5 jobs or multiple part-time jobs just to get by, so they can try to live out their dream of making it in the music industry, okay? You can actually grow, all right? And that's what I come and bring. Every single piece of content I come out here with is designed to help the independent artist. I'm not saying, oh yeah, here's how to get signed. No. If you want to get signed, go for it, okay? And all the things that I talk about on this channel and can help you out with can help lead to you getting signed. So you can absolutely use everything that I got to help you get signed. But I know a lot of y'all don't want to get signed because you want to stay true to yourself. And the best way to stay true to yourself and not lose your fan base is to establish your brand, who you are, what you stand for, and your story, right? And then put out that content on a regular basis. Be as diverse and as unique as possible, okay, with the content you're putting out, okay? But before you can really even put out the content, like I said at the beginning, you got to do those 3 pillars. You got to establish who you are, what you stand for, and what your story is, okay? And after you got that taken care of, then the second most important thing that you have to do is make sure that you have a unique name, okay? You have to make sure you have a unique name, because your name is the logo of your brand, because the three pillars, who you are, what you stand for, and what your story is, that is the whole picture of who you are as an artist or as a band. However, your name, now that's the most important, okay? And so it's just like Coca-Cola, Kellogg's, 7th Generation, Honest Brand, whatever you want to go by, right? Any of these big name brands, you can say one word or a couple words, and you can be like, boom, this is that brand name. And we already know what they stand for because they've established their brand. So you have to establish who you are as an artist, who you are as an individual, what kind of music you're going to put out with your three pillars. But then you also have to establish your name, okay? So I'm just going to assume you already have a name that you've been going by for a while. Whether you're an artist who just started making music a couple months ago, or whether you are an artist who feels like you're pretty established, you've been doing this for 5, 6, 8 years, whatever, you still need to go make sure you double check your name. Okay, so go to Google and type in your name. Okay, type in your name and see what comes up. If you get other artists or other things that are popping up before you find anything that is your social or streaming platforms, then you're fucked up. You need to fix that, okay? But aside from that, you also need to go over to social media. All the social media platforms, okay? You need to go over to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. Open up multiple tabs if you have to, right? Go over all those platforms and just do a search and type in your name. And look and see if you are finding multiple instances of your name. And on top of that, let me go ahead and throw another caveat in. Go over to Spotify or Apple Music and type in your name, okay? That's a big one right there. Because I work with a lot of artists, and whenever I work with some of them who don't really have a very unique name, one thing that you'll find a lot is that they will have a hard time with social media growth because there are other people who make music or just make content of any kind online who have the same name. And that really fucks up their growth because then they're getting confused between multiple people with the same name. And then on the flip side, when you go over to the streaming platforms, they have other artists' music on their Spotify and Apple Music platform, right? You go to a specific artist's channel and you'll see their music, but then you'll also see music from somebody else in a totally different genre sometimes, okay? So that's why it's important to ensure, so that's why it's important that you ensure that your name is unique. So go to Google, go to the socials, go to Spotify and all that, and search your name and make sure you're the only name. Now, if you're seeing multiple instances of your name, even in slightly different variations, you need to change your name. And not just by a little bit either, completely. Okay? Now, sir, some of you are probably like, but, yo, Harkos, why can't I just put the word music at the end of my stuff? Well, like I said a second ago, sometimes there's multiple people making music under a same or very similar name. So you just add the word music at the end of it, whoop-de-doo. You're still going to show up right next to them, and people who are just doing a random search of your name because they heard you on YouTube or on Spotify or whatever, they're not going to be able to find you very well. Okay? And then you're going to have the issue where when people go to tag you, they accidentally tag somebody else. Or maybe they're angry at somebody else and they go to tag them in a shit post and they accidentally tag you. And now you're like, whoa, what the hell? Right? You don't want none of that. So that's why you got to be unique with your name, but also your @ handle. Okay? So if you go to any of those platforms, and especially all, but any of those platforms, and you see multiple instances of your name, especially in the realm of music and entertainment, you need to change your name immediately. Okay? And let me give you a couple of examples of artists in the hip-hop realm, okay, who have changed their name in the middle of a big rise in their career and still succeeded, okay? Now, I'm going to assume a lot of y'all watching right here, right now, are probably not on the cusp of getting signed to a major, okay? If you are, yo, congratulations. I appreciate you checking out my content, and let me know throughout your experience if you have any different ideas and stuff like that. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm right. Everything like that, right? But a lot of people, if you're online searching for help with your marketing and you come across my platform, I'm going to assume you're not on the cusp of getting signed to a major deal on like a Jay-Z, Beyonce level, okay? You may be getting looked at by a few indie labels or something like that, but you're not about ready to pop worldwide, okay? So let's talk about a couple of artists who changed their name on the cusp of popping worldwide. Like, literally, okay? First one, Young Jeezy, okay? For those of y'all who may or may not know, Young Jeezy, ever since he was a little kid, and this might apply to you in a way as well too, so just pay attention. He was always called Lil J, okay? Because his dad's name started with a J, his name started with a J, but he was Lil J, right? Because the other guy was, his dad was a J as well. So he was always called Lil J growing up. So as he got older, that just was always his nickname, so that became his rap name when he started making music, okay? Well, he made a big name for himself in the Atlanta, Georgia area, okay, and surrounding areas. He made a big name for himself as Lil J. Everybody knew him as Lil J, not only on the streets in his his street stuff he was doing, but also in the realm of music. Everybody knew him at the club as Lil J, Lil J, Lil J, right? Like he could walk into a club, people knew him like, yo, what's up, Lil J, right? He was well known in his area, and at the time, he was getting pursued because of his rise that he was getting by not just the FBI and some other stuff he was doing, but also by Def Jam and Bad Boy South. Okay? So again, he's getting poached by major labels. He has offers on the table. He changes his name to Young Jeezy right then. Why? Why would you do that? You're probably like, yo, why the fuck would he do that, man? He's getting ready to get a deal on either Def Jam or Bad Boy South. And in the early 2000s, Bad Boy South was a big thing, all right? Now it's like, whoa, you're associated with Diddy, right? But at that time, it was a big deal, okay? And you can go check out his history and see what actually happened, because he really did get signed and stuff like that, right? He made it really, really big. If you don't already know who Young Jeezy is, I don't know how you couldn't, but anyway. Snowman right there above my head for those of y'all watching the video. But anyway, he changed his name to Young Jeezy, okay? And then later in his career, he ended up changing it to just Jeezy because he ain't young no more. That's how he said it, right? So he was being approached for a major record label deal, and he changed his name. And guess what happened? He still blew the fuck up worldwide, okay? And really made a great career. And he talks about this in great detail in his book, Adversity for Sale. So if you guys are interested in checking it out, I definitely recommend it. You can get the audiobook, or you can just get the regular book. It's called Adversity for Sale by Young Jeezy. Go check it out. It's dope. It's amazing. It's wonderful, okay? But that's one instance. Another instance is 2 Chainz. Okay. Now some of y'all may be like, "What do you mean 2 Chainz? He didn't change his name. When did he change his name?" So he used to be called Tity Boi. Now, hilarious name. I don't understand why somebody would want to call themselves that and go by a name. I mean, I love tits, but I wouldn't necessarily name myself Tity Boi and try to be like a dope dealing gangster rapper type of vibe. You know what I'm saying? But he did it. Okay. And he was part of a duo called Playaz Circle. Okay, and they got enough notoriety to where they ended up getting a feature with Lil Wayne on a song called Duffel Bag Boy. Now, any of y'all who are Lil Wayne freaks, you may know Lil Wayne. You may have even heard the song by Lil Wayne called Duffel Bag Boy, right? Go and get your money, Lil Duffel Bag Boy, right? That song. Playaz Circle was on that track with Lil Wayne. And Tity Boi was one of the people in Playaz Circle. Well, right after that, he started getting approached for a big deal. And he changed his name and went solo at the same time. I'm not sure what happened there, but he changed his name from Tity Boi to 2 Chainz. And meteoric. Now, some of you might be like, oh, well, maybe that's because they changed their name. Maybe. okay? But they definitely were able to stand out, and they were able to brand themselves with their name in a much better way and solidify themselves. Because there might have been multiple instances of people online, especially in this time frame, as online was really starting, go by the name Tity Boi or something like that, right? So when you go by Chainz or Young Jeezy, you really stand out. Let's talk about another one real quick, right? Birdman, right? Some of y'all may or may not know who Birdman is. He's not as popular as the other two, okay? But Birdman is Lil Wayne's stepdad type situation, right? Okay, he's been Lil Wayne's father figure for most of his life, okay? Well, before Lil Wayne even got his start at like 12, 13, Birdman went by the name Baby. No, not Da Baby or Lil Baby that are going around today in 2024 whenever I'm recording this. But he just went by Baby. And this is back in the early 90s, okay? And him and Manny Fresh, I can't remember the duo off the top of my head, but they were really making a lot of noise and getting a lot of notoriety, okay? And they had, they ended up creating Cash Money Records and having, the whole Cash Money, click, Hot Boys and all that kind of stuff, right? 504? Can't remember off the top of my head. That might not be right. Don't quote me on that one. But anyway, he was making some noise. And the whole reason Lil Wayne even got his start and really blew up was because Birdman, aka Baby at that time, already had himself established in the music industry. He was already on MTV, BET, on radio, everything like that, with him and Manny Fresh with their songs and stuff like that, right? And around the time when Lil Wayne came out, I think Lil Wayne was about 15, 16, somewhere in there, Lil Wayne started really having his rise with like Carter 2-ish. Baby changed his name to Birdman and was still able to continue on going. Now, with him, it's a little bit different because he really didn't put out music much anymore. He went into the executive role. He put out some music like, like Stuntin' Like My Daddy. Him and Lil Wayne did like a whole project and everything like that. So his is a little bit different, but still, most people know him as Birdman, not as Baby in 2024. Okay, so those are three instances of people, artists, who were building a solid career in the music industry, and when it came time for the major deals, changed their name and still saw success. Again, I'll give it to you, Birdman may be a little bit different because he went to the executive route once they got like their big pop, right? But I say that to say this. If you are really stuck on your name, this is a nickname I've had since I was a kid, Harkos. It's not my fault that, X amount of people have that same name online, or X amount of other artists want to go by that same name too. Man, my grandma called me this name when I was 3, and she's passed now. I loved her. Hey, much love to Granny, and I appreciate exactly what you're talking about. That can still be your nickname. But when it comes to branding yourself as an artist, you have to stand out. Not just with who you are, what you stand for, and your story, but also your name. Because your name represents all of that. Okay? So if you don't have a unique name, all the rest of it, your story, who you are, and what you stand for is irrelevant. Because you will get confused with the other people with the same name. Okay? So whenever you're going through and you're checking Google and streaming platforms and social media, searching your name, just doing a standard search in your name, and log on to somebody else's account who's not following you too if you have to, just to make sure you get a really, really unbiased in the search results selection of what the internet represents in regards to your name, okay? And search that. And if you find any instances of other people using that name on social and streaming platforms, you need to change your name. Okay? Come up with a new nickname. Use an anagram, which is where you take like different pieces of your first and your last name and you mix it up to create like one name, right? I did that. Well, technically, people did that for me when I was in middle school. Harkos is a nickname I've had since middle school, where they actually took my first and my last name, smashed it together a little bit, and now my name's Harkos, all right? Because the name Harkos does have parts of my first and last name in it, but I'm not going to disclose that. That's for y'all to That's for y'all to find out on your own if you want to really fucking be a stalker. But anyway, you can do stuff like that. You can come up with a fresh nickname, something that you think, oh man, that'd be a dope artist name. Go and check it. You come up with an anagram of your name, like what I just said, go and check it. Once you find it, then what you need to do is change the name on all your platforms, including your @handles. Make sure you really change that. And when you change your @handles, go open up a tab for every single platform and try an @handle on every one and make sure it's clear on all of them. That way you can have the same @handle on all platforms. You don't want to have 3 to 5 different variations of @handles across the different platforms. You just want to be known @blah, right? Everywhere. You can follow me on socials @blah everywhere, right? Done. Okay? You want to make sure that you can do that. Okay? And on top of that, this probably should go without saying, but I've seen people do it. Make sure that your profile picture on all your platforms, your social and streaming, is the same, okay? If you go and you change it because you're promoting a new album or you got a new photo shoot or something like that, change it as well, okay? Just make sure they're all the same all at the same time. That way, when people find you at other places, when they just do a search, then they know, oh, that's him. I recognize that picture from the other platform I first saw them on, right? 100%. Now, after you get your brand established, who you are, what you stand for, and what your story is, you get your name solidified and you make sure you have what's called brand solidarity across all the platforms where your name is the same, your @handles are the same, and it's unique everywhere. Once you get that, you need to make sure your bio is on point on all these platforms, your YouTube, your Spotify, and all your socials, okay? You need to make sure your bio is on point. And what you need to do in order to make sure your bio is on point, you need to have 2 to 3 sentences that pretty much encompass who you are, what you stand for, and what your story is, right? In a couple of sentences. And then have your website right there in the bio on all the platforms, okay? Now, if you don't have a website, first off, you're fucking up, okay? Now, I know some of y'all may be like, Harkos, man, websites are old school. No, websites are crucial, okay? And I personally think, and I've seen this a lot, I've heard a lot of people say it, so that solidifies my thought on this. But a lot of people will say, oh, websites are old school, they're not necessary anymore. But they'll say that because they think having a website is too expensive. They think, Harkos, man, I don't know how to build a website. I heard it's really complicated. And there's so many different companies out here I could use. And like, I heard this like over $1,000 to get a website built. And then it's like hundreds of dollars every month to keep up and running. Okay. Even if I build it myself and I got to spend all this time building it and still I got to pay X amount of dollars per month to keep it up and running. And there's so much complexity. I got to be able to sell my music and sell my merchandise and sell my tickets and oh yeah, communicate with people via email with what I call email direct communication. Most people call email marketing or newsletters, right? Oh, I got to do that as well too, man. All these things. And then put my socials and streaming platforms up there, man. That's a lot. I might as well just get a link tree. No. Because you can't do all of that with a link tree. Every single thing I just listed, being able to sell your merchandise, sell your music, sell your tickets, gather email addresses by offering people free downloads of your music in exchange for email address or insider programs, being able to organize insider programs where people can pay you $5-10 a month to be a part of an exclusive community where they can hang out with other people who are your fans, but also get, VIP access to you online as well. Maybe they get discounts on your music and your merchandise and your tickets before it even goes on sale anywhere else. You can do different things like that with an insider program, which is a great thing to do as an artist. You can't build that off a link tree. And you for damn sure can't communicate via email to these people. Okay? Yeah, you can have your social and streaming links up there. That's it. So a website is crucial. It's not old school, and it doesn't have to be expensive. Okay? I heard this from Adam Ivy years ago, okay? If you're not familiar with Adam Ivy, he's another guy who really made a big movement within the realm of music marketing. He's kind of teetering out of it a little bit right now. He's still kind of involved, but he's working on a lot of other things in other industries and stuff like that, for those of y'all who don't know. But he always said this one thing that I really, really like, and I use all the time, but I always credit him for. He always said, use what you have until what you have pays for what you want. Okay? And now, for most independent artists who are working a 9-to-5 or who work in multiple part-time jobs, using what they have until what they have pays for what they want boils down to they're either spending time or money on something. And sometimes, a lot of times, both, right? But when it comes to doing both, you want to spend as little of both as possible, especially the money part, right? Because money's tight. Well, over the years, I've figured out different ways to have a fully functioning website that you can have completely operational for as low as $25 a year. And you'll still be able to sell your music, sell your merchandise, sell your tickets to your events, have your insider VIP program, have your email direct communication where you're talking to your fans on a regular basis, and have your social and streaming platform links all up there as well too, right? You'll be able to do all that stuff for as low as $25 a year, fully operational. I figured out all these different ways to do it, okay? It's possible, okay? Now, some of you are probably like, oh, man, get the fuck out of here, man. It's got to be some garbage-ass website. No, it's a solid website. It's a solid website that's fully functional, and you can do everything you need to do. I've built it for multiple artists, and I can help you as well, too. I can either build it for you, which takes the less time off of you. It does take more of your money. Or I actually have a full walkthrough where I show you in a video course every single step that you need to do to connect everything, every single step you need to do to use every tool and every platform in order to create your own website with all the different venues that I was talking about, right? Selling music, selling merchandise, selling your tickets, having your email direct communication, building an insider program. You can set all that stuff up yourself. I show you exactly how to do it step by step to where you can have it up and running for as low as $25 a year. Okay, and now that course, that's not free. That doesn't cost $25 a year, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than me doing it for you. But you might spend 2, 4, or more weeks building it yourself, trying to learn all these things that you've never done before possibly. Okay, so there's 2 different options that I have right there where I can help you get a website up and running, because like I said, a website is crucial. And if you want to find out more about this, make sure you put a comment down below if you have comment section. If not, just go to musicmakinsensepod.com and you can leave me a chat right there on the website. Hit me up and say, hey Harkos, how can I go ahead and get this taken care of? Okay, go ahead and hit me up right there, and I can help you, give you more information about the 2 different options. We can hop on a free, video call, and I can show you exactly everything that I do, show you some examples of websites that I've done, and completely no obligation, okay? So if you want some help, I can help you out, okay? But either way, whether you do it 100% yourself, using your own ingenuity, whether you know a guy, or whether you use any of my resources, you need to have a website. It's non-negotiable. Okay? I don't care how awesome your smart URL is. Oh, well, I can sell merchandise on my thing. Okay, can you do everything I just said? Can you sell your music? Yeah, on most of them you probably can. Can you sell your merchandise? Yeah, on some of them you can. Can you sell your event tickets? Oh, well, yeah, some of them I can. Okay, now I'm narrowing down to even less and less, right? Can you give away free things, like free MP3 downloads or whatever, in exchange for an email address? Well, no. Oh, okay. Can you host your emails that you send out to your fans every week or so off of a link tree? Can you send them out directly from there? Well, no. Can you set up and manage a VIP program through a link tree for your fans? Fuck no. You cannot. You can't. Okay? But through a website, you can. That's why I'm saying it is 100% non-negotiable. You have to have a website, okay? And so, again, like I said, whenever you have established your 3 pillars of your brand, who you are, what you stand for, and what your story is, then go and make sure Even if you've been doing your Harkos, man, I don't need to check anything, man. My shit's on point. I've been making music for 5, 10, 20 years. Go check. Make sure. Because you might be surprised. Especially if you haven't done the paperwork right and trademarked your name, okay? That's some other shit. But anyway, as one of my late homeboys said in one of my favorite songs that he ever made, right? Shout out to Doogie, man. Wherever you're at, bro. Like I said, late homeboy. Anyway, that was not acting. I got hit by emotion there for a second. But anyway, like he said in one of his songs, but that's some other shit, and my toilet don't flush. So let me sip this yak till I throw up my guts, okay? But anyway, every time I say, but that's some other shit, I always hear the rest of him saying that line in my head. So he's always with me. Anyway, I don't get emotional. Fuck. He was a really good friend. But, where was I? Anyway, let me get back on track. Sorry, I got in my head. Once you get your 3 pillars of your brand set up, who you are, what you stand for, and what your story is, you go and check your name, make sure it's 100% solid, and then make sure that you got your bio set up with, the 2 to 3 sentences plus your website, and your website's fully operational. Now, you can start going out there and finding your fans, real fans, and then growing that fan base. Because once you understand who you are, what you represent, and what you stand for, you will be able to find other people like that and that like that will resonate with you, not just with your music, but with you as an individual. And that is what's going to solidify you having a real fan base that you can build on and have a real career in music with, where you can live that musician lifestyle and make music, perform your music, engage with your fans, and not have to worry about working a bullshit 9 to 5 or multiple part-time dirty ass jobs. Okay? So if you're tired of doing all of that, you need to establish everything I just said in this video. Once you get that established, you're like, all right, Harkos, I'm ready to go now. I can be a fans. Yes. But next up, you have to create entertaining and engaging content that speaks to who you are as a brand, who you are as an artist, as an individual, but also who you are as the music, what the music stands for, what the music represents as well too. And that's how you craft all of that with your video imagery, with your still imagery, and with every time you come to your fans, whether it is through email direct communication or whether it is through a live or whether it's through a pre-recorded video, every time you're coming to them, you are your genuine self and you're representing your 3 pillars and who you are, and they can find you any and everywhere easy because you got a unique artist name or band name, and your website is right there, and it's got your artist or your band name right there at www.blah.com. You're easy to find, and like I like to say, you're making it as easy as possible for the lowest common idiot. Okay? Now, we don't like to think of our fans as idiots, but some of our fans are not going to be too smart. They're either going to be really lazy, really entitled, or just not very intelligent. And so they're not going to want to do a lot of extra work. Okay? They want you to make it easy for them. So having your website in the bio of all your platforms gives them just one click to take that next step. They don't have to go and search. They don't have to type. They just click or tap on their phone, right? It makes it very, very simple. So after you get all that set up, you got to start creating entertaining and engaging content. And that's what I'll be talking about on the next episode of Music Making Sense Podcast. So if you got knowledge out of this episode, I want you to do me a huge favor. Send me a message, any way, shape, or form. Whether you put something down in the comments of this video if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening on any other audio podcast platforms, go to musicmakingsensepod.com and send me a message, okay? And say, yo, Harkos, I really, really like this episode on brand. I just wanted to let you know, blah, 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 part of it was dope. Or even still, hey, I just checked out your video on brand, and I thought this part or the whole thing was complete garbage. And then detail why. Let me know. I genuinely want to know both ways. I will have an actual human adult conversation with you either way. Even if you say, yo, you're off your fucking rocker, Harkos, you don't know shit. I'll be like, okay, explain to me how. And we'll have a back and forth discussion for as long as you're willing to be civil and actually have an intelligent conversation. We can chop it up. Hell, I might even put you on an episode of the podcast and we can talk about it on live. Okay? I'm not afraid of being controversial when it comes to my stance on things within the realm of music marketing. I'm not afraid to stand out and be the oddball. I've been an oddball my whole life. Hell, the doctor tried to kill me at birth, okay? And that's a real story. I ain't just saying that. You can talk to my mama, all right? Doctor tried to kill me and her. Well, actually, technically, me and her did die during my birth, but we came back to life. Doctor tried to kill me. Okay. I've been an oddball outcast my whole life. I grew up in a 99.5% white country town. And like I told you, in 96, I fell in love with hip-hop. Bone Thugs and Harmony and Snoop Dogg and Tupac and Master P. Like, you want to talk about standing out from the crowd. I was no longer in the crowd. I have no problem standing out and being myself. And I encourage every single one of y'all to do the same thing. So, again, whether you agree or disagree with me, let me know either directly or publicly, okay? If you want to make a video about me, tag me. Music Making Cents Podcast everywhere, okay? If you want to talk to me privately, musicmakingsensepod.com. Send me a message right there in the chat option, or you can go to any of the socials and send me a DM. Let me know whether you agree or disagree with what I said here on this podcast, on this episode. And also, like I said a couple times, if you need help with anything in the realm of music marketing, whether it's building your brand, working on your content, working on, your general growth of your fan base, your website, I can help you out. Whether you're a brand new artist who just got started a couple months ago, or whether you've been doing this for 2 years or 2 decades, I can help you grow. Okay? So hit me up, musicmakingsensepod.com. Shoot me a message right there on the website, and I can help you out. Okay? So until the next episode, where, like I said, we're going to dive deep into creating entertaining and engaging content. Until that next episode, make sure you check out every other episode on Music Makes Sense Podcast, especially the last one. The last one was a really, really good one as well. And then also make sure, real quick, come by and join me on the live stream on Music Making Sense Podcast's YouTube channel every single Wednesday night. I go live from 9 till 11 or 12, playing a bunch of independent artist music from all genres, hanging out with every single one of y'all that stop by, and helping some artists out with some of their marketing, with some of the social media branding stuff that I talked about in this episode. And I go live, hang out, and also too, every single artist that gets played on that episode, they get a bunch of YouTube streams for me playing their music. So it's all about growth here at Music Making Sense Podcast. Make sure you keep checking out all the episodes of Music Making Sense Podcast official right here like this. But also make sure you head on over to the Music Making Sense Podcast YouTube channel and check out the Wednesday night What the Fuck Wednesday live stream. Whether you check it out in retro or you check it out live, make sure you check it out. And if you want to submit your music to be played on that, again, musicmakingsensepod.com for any and everything Music Making Sense Pod. Okay? You want to submit your music to the What the Fuck Wednesday? musicmakingsensepod.com. You want to find out, hit me up on the socials, musicmakingsensepod.com. You want to find the YouTube channel so you can check out this What the Fuck Wednesday I'm talking about, because it's not on any other platforms except for YouTube? musicmakingsensepod.com. And if you want to get your music marketing on point and really start growing a real sustainable fan base without bots, without scams, without, any shady shenanigans, musicmakingsensepod.com. Send me a message and let's get to work. Until then, talk to you later.